Hi, and welcome to the global cycle of 9. In numerology, 2025 is a 9 cycle. So we're going to unpack this because this is truly every year cycle, global cycle, sets the stage for what the collective is going to be working through, healing, clearing out. It's kind of like the climate, the weather climate, as to what the theme is going to be for our growth, our evolution, our healing, or our transformation. And this is super pivotal this year because we're in a 9 cycle. And what does that mean in relation to coming into the new paradigm? So we're officially in the new paradigm, in the energies of the new paradigm, in the consciousness, I should say. We are officially in the age of Aquarius paradigm, yet we are still very much kind of in between, this past and then moving into the next. And that's what this number 9 global cycle is really going to be kind of the catalyst of. So from this numerological perspective, we're going to actually be in a completion cycle. So I'm going to unpack specifically the themes of the 9. And before I do that, just to kind of give the background of this particular cycle, will be in officially for 21 months. So it started in the Gregorian calendar January 1st of 2025, and we'll be in the 9 cycle until December 31st of 2025. Then we'll enter in 2026, January 1st, 2026, we're going to enter into what's called the 10 cycle, and we'll be in that until September 22nd, and then we enter into the 1 cycle officially, which is the whole brand new, literal new cycle in the new paradigm. So this year, we're going to have the theme of the 9 vibration, and then we'll have the theme of the 10 vibration. So officially until September 22nd, 2026, we will be in this umbrella of a completion cycle. Yet the vibe next year and what that means will be a little bit different than what we're experiencing this year. So I just want to clarify that in relation to what we're going to be unfolding, what's going to be happening, and how to work with these energies. Most importantly, this is such a powerful, unprecedented, historical time. It's super exciting, and it's going to be very, just potentially very interesting, to say the least, because a couple of things. We're going to be creating this as we go along, but also we're going to be facing things that we've never, ever historically, ever actually experienced before. And so we're going to be potentially in a lot of uncertainty, which brings us back to the 9. 9 represents uncertainty. It represents that it's the creative energy in action, it's called. It's Adi Shakti, but what that means is that it's actually this deep creative energy, like as if you're in the womb. So what that means is you're in this energy where if we can relax into this uncertainty and really just allowing ourselves to be in the flow and being open to, just kind of open to this unseen or open to the unknown, that actually allows us to be more available to infinite possibilities. So that's one of the invitations for us navigating through this next period of time. We aren't going to know what's next. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns because we're going to be now entering what the 9 is going to be asking us is to really let go. There's going to be, really just this deconstruction in order for a reconstruction to start to really happen at the global stage, at the global level. Humanity is at the end of an era and will then be officially entering into a whole new era, a whole new paradigm. It's in some ways really unfathomable for us because we really, evolutionary wise, have not been here before. Okay, so let's go through the 9 cycle themes. 9 represents completion. It represents the letting go, the release, and the culmination, tying up loose ends. So because of that, it also can represent where a lot of deep emotions arise. We're dealing with trying to tie up loose ends. We're dealing with letting go, completion of things, and current issues that are coming up either because of all of this or just because that's life. And so therefore that's going to really be a catalyst in a sense for a lot of emotions to come up either emotions that are rising because they're being created now in the moment from what we're experiencing, or it's because, and most importantly, it's coming up because it's from our past or it's lodged in our subconscious. So the 9 cycle is really asking us to review our past so that we can then create a new future. And this is where it kind of can be a little bit of a wobble for most, because we are going to be asked to really review our history. So remember, right now I'm talking about how is this going to affect us on a global level? Humanity as an essence, as a whole. We're going to be asked potentially to look back, or we're going to potentially see reenactments of things, or we're going to start to see things kind of really playing out. And in that, we're going to start to be really asked. And the gift of this is that it really births awareness, though. So we're going to be asked to start to look at things, and then from that, start to be able to get an understanding from this review of how do we get here? How do we get here? And is this really where we want to be? And because this is an evolutionary leap in, for humanity into this new experience of expression of who we are as a humanity, that means that we're really going to be looking at a lot of the probably kind of more intense or tough, situations that are happening and playing out, have been historically and are even currently now. War, injustices, the suffering, the poverty, etc. So what we're going to be given the opportunity of, and this is also a cycle of grace. We're going to be given extra grace and support through this journey so that we can actually look back on our past and learn from it. And because if we can't learn from it, we keep repeating it. We'll keep repeating the same things. And so this is the gift of the 9. The 9 says, let's go back, let's review it. And because of this extra grace, we have the opportunity now to alchemize. And when we learn from something, that's when we really birth wisdom. And that's what this cycle is offering us. So from that wisdom is when we can start to create new choices. We can create, and from that birth solutions, because we're going to be able to come at it from a different platform. We cannot create a solution from the same place that the problem started. That's what this 9 cycle is really going to be supporting us in, is really being able for us to really look back, learn from it so that we can shift our consciousness. We'll have new understanding and new awareness. And then from that place is where we can really start to open up to new resolutions and to just new, innovative and progressive, and even maybe potentially at this moment, unfathomable new ways of doing things. And just really, the awakening of humanity, which is going to start happening collectively, and it will happen for us also individually. And I'll talk about how that's going to affect us in a second individually. The invitation for us, though, is to remember that as we're reviewing this, we want to be mindful not to be stuck in those deep emotions. We want to be mindful not to be nursing those emotions, whether it's fear, whether it's injustice, whether it's resentment, bitterness, frustration, anger, guilt, grief. All these things potentially are going to be stirred up in order to be cleared out and released. And that's the key. When these deep emotions come up, we want to be able to process them. We want to be able to honor them and acknowledge them and then move them. So moving them with the breath or different means. The key is that we want to give ourselves space in order for us to be able to move these energies. So this is going to be playing out on a collective level. So, in your own personal life, you might not have too much of a ripple. I feel like, some lives are going to potentially feel more of an impact of this than others. But we are all here at this point, at this pivotal time in history. And from a soul perspective, this is truly, again, just unprecedented. And so if we're here right now, we've specifically chosen to incarnate, have been honored to be able to incarnate at this time for this specific times. So whatever unfolds for us, no matter how much it's impacting us or not, we will feel some of it because we're part of that whole consciousness and we're stepping more into unity consciousness. And so that means we are going to feel something as a result of this. And so a couple things with that. One, our invitation is to really give ourselves, again, that space to take care of ourselves when we need to, coming back, what is mine, what isn't mine? What do I have control over here? What do I not have control over? The 9 is asking us to really let go and to release, and that's a part of it. How can I be in the flow and still come back to coming into this place of, I don't have control over that, but I can come back into my own center. I can come into my own heart and I can cultivate loving kindness, or I can navigate through my day, or, some days that might be hour by hour, day by day, or week by week, with just kind of one step at a time and with intention. The 9 is asking us to really move forward with intention, not force. So it's asking us to, as we're reviewing and learning from this and opening up to potentially new awareness, we're also in that coming out of denial. And so as we come out of denial with this awareness, we have more support within us and surrounding us spiritually to be able to come back into the guidance of our soul, come back into our inner resonance, and come back into really just cultivating that heart-centeredness. And that's where our grit's going to come from, where we have access, so much access to, this strength that we've come in with. So again, we've come in at this time, which means we have within us to navigate through this, and we each will have our own gifts and abilities, strengths, talents, kind of who we are. We'll have an opportunity to really contribute in some way. And that could be, just holding a space, holding a frequency of love, holding a frequency or an essence of faith or optimism. Or it could be actually, something might get ignited within us individually, where we really want to go out and do something different in order to contribute. We're going to start to see a lot of grassroots movements coming up as we start to create the new. So again, that could look very differently for us, but whatever we're really guided to do, that's going to potentially start to get very kicked in this year with this 9 cycle. So this 9 cycle is asking us to get calm. It's asking us to get calm and still so that we can actually tap into this unseen energy, this unseen essence, this unseen, and feel the unseen intelligence. At an individual level, that's our soul self. That's our soul essence, which has our own unique divine blueprint. And that from that divine blueprint, this is where we're being guided on how, we're able to contribute. And our soul will always have the highest, greatest good and intention for all beings, for all of humanity. So we have to be able to get into a calm, still space in order for us to be able to feel, hear, and then choose, if we choose to respond from what we're being guided to do, and that resonance of that. So the 9 is asking us to get calm and still. So cultivating some silence potentially this year will really help us navigate, come back into our center, and navigate through whatever changes are happening. And this cycle is asking us to trust our intuition. Can we discern between what our intuition is and truly what is of the highest and greatest good for humanity? So something we were asked to do as a collective is to, just really come back, review, where have we been? Are we okay with where we are? So when we can keep coming back into the present moment, and this is where, again, this might sound like a bit of a contradiction, to being in the present moment, but the 9's asking us to go to the past. So we want to keep ebb and flowing in and out of that bigger picture back into the, details of the now. So we want to look at the past as much as possible. What we're trying to do ultimately is release our grip on the past, or releasing the grip our past actually has on us, which means that we want to be able to look at our past to extract the lesson of it. What worked, what didn't work, what's working now, how are we affected now from everything that's happened in the past? Because that's the way energy moves. If we're not alchemizing it, if we haven't learned something, we'll still operate from that same energy field, that same consciousness, and we keep repeating, and history will keep repeating itself. This is the kind of point in our history now where this is going to be shifted, and we're going to be shifting it through our own personal awareness and through, again, that cultivation of what can I take from the past? How have I learned from it? And then how can we, from this present current platform, this current present moment, where can we now start to really get into alignment to what we want to create and experience? And then from there, really start to be open and prolific in these new solutions. So it's going to be playing out on a world stage. It's going to be a journey, and it's going to be unlike potentially anything that we've ever experienced. So even, pay attention to, our invitation is to pay attention to even hearing that. Does that trigger anything? Does that activate fear? Does that activate excitement? What's happening within? This is the key of this year, is to really explore, how am I feeling about this? How is this affecting me? What's my response to it? Our responses aren't good or bad or right or wrong. Our responses are telling us something. It's telling us information. Is there something here I need to address? Is there something here I need to feel to heal? Is there something here I need to course correct, change, choose differently from? And, so again, just this in and out, this ebb and flow, what's happening, and then how can I come back into alignment? So invitation for all of us is really have our center point or our rudder ready of how we want to journey through this year. And that's not because anything, it doesn't mean it's going to be bad what's happening. It means that we are in a massive time and change, and massive transformation is afoot. So we are going to be experiencing change. And sometimes that can feel a little bit, again, scary for us. Most of the time as humans, we want change and equally don't want it, and so there's this push-pull or this conflict. So again, it's just really about honoring what we feel, and we could feel, a myriad of different emotions with one particular same situation or experience. So, one day we might feel one way, another day we might feel the other. So we're really just, asked to, what is going to be our center? If we know what our center is, we have something that we can steadily keep coming back to, just to kind of help us stay in our center and help us to stay grounded and really just kind of focused. And it gives us something to come back into alignment to. So that could be a center, it could be loving kindness, it could be love, it could be peace. So what is that? What is it for you? Like, what resonates with you for your center? The 9 is asking us to not just review our history, but it's also asking us to relinquish. I don't want to say it's relinquishing like kind of the ego aspect. We're definitely, we still need ego, and we want to have ego essence within us. We just, again, want the ego to serve us, serve our heart, and honor, kind of what the soul's guidance. So we're allowing, the soul to come forth more. And that's what the 9's also asking us. It's asking us, can we get just, again, quiet enough and still enough to be able to let our soul lead and guide the way? Now, where this could be, again, a bit of, push-pull or in and out with this, is that because there's going to be changes, our ego essence, the ego's main function and role in our previous paradigms has really been to keep us in survival mode. And so if we feel insecure, if we feel unsafe, or we're just not kind of sure about something, that usually will activate our ego to kick in, because the ego's like, okay, there's, something's happening here. I don't know what's happening, but I have to make sure that we stay alive. So we potentially might have some moments where our ego is being kicked in a little bit more. So that's, again, the invitation for us is, can we recognize that? Can we cultivate some type of practice this year where we're really, again, just honoring and cultivating the ability to come back into calmness, come back into some type of stillness, come back into the breath? And that can even be through movement. It can be through dance. It can be through, things like technologies like yoga and qigong. There's so many different beautiful things. It could be just being out in nature. What works for you to come back into just stillness, silence, calmness, going out at night and just kind of tuning into the stars and tuning into the quiet of the night, or getting up really early in the morning and just, before the world is really awakening and rising, can you feel that essence of that quiet, of that energy? So that's the 9. The 9 is, it's potentially a lot because of where it is in relation to the cycles, because it's the completion cycle. Yet it is truly, the 9 vibration is truly, really the most sacred vibration, because we have access to our spiritual and subtle team and energies in the cycle. So there's a lot of support and grace that will be available to us this year. The invitation for us is, can we get calm enough and then tune in and be open to all the different frequencies and energies that are available to us? And that's not going away, because we're going to be, once we go out of the 9 cycle. I mean, that's here now because of the higher consciousness, higher frequencies are here. We have more available to us. We still have to, though, get into alignment with that or be open to that. It's kind of like, that signal, like a radio signal. What am I broadcasting, and what alignment do I want, signal do I want to get into alignment with, so that I can be a part of that and broadcast that out? So again, that could be love, could be peace, whatever resonates, with us individually and personally. So that's the overall global cycle theme summary. And our own personal yearly cycle will really be the main theme energy that we'll personally be dealing with individually. Yet the global cycle is definitely going to be affecting all of us. And again, if we're sensitive to energy, even if we're not necessarily feeling a major big wobble in our own life, we still will be a part of that energy. So, if something's not really massively changing in your own life, then you could be at potentially, an opportunity would be to hold that frequency or hold that space for the collective. But we're still going to be kind of, sensitive, or we're still going to be impacted or affected on some level from the changes that are happening on that global scale. So keeping in mind what your own personal cycle potentially is, if that resonates with you, to know that. And then how is your personal cycle melding and being influenced by that global, though your personal cycle will be the one most prevalent influence in our own lives for this year. So there's going to be a link in the show notes if you want to know how to get your own personal cycle. There's a calculation that you can do. It's super easy to do. So there's going to be a link to guide you to where that is, and then what that means depending on what your cycle is. So I'll give you an example. I'm in a 7 cycle personally this year. So when I look at what the 7 means, it means a lot of things. But as an example, it's asking me with the 9 cycle, this is how I'm an example of how it would work. The 9 cycle is giving me an opportunity to let go of things that are no longer appropriate for me, coming into a new alignment of my truth. So 7 represents truth. And so this year, for me as in a 7, I'm being asked to really go within and really review, who am I and what is my truth? And the 9 is saying, let's look at your past and say, who's shaped you for who you are now? How's your family shaped you? How have your experiences shaped you? And, what is ready to be shed, released, and let go of, because that's no longer serving who you are now and what your truth is and where you're going. So that's an example. You will have potentially completely different personal cycle. Some of you might actually be in a 9 cycle. And so again, that will be much more kind of like direct for you and what you're going to be experiencing, because those themes are absolutely there. But if you are in your own personal cycle, the invitation to, you don't have to know, how is this going to affect me? Could be you're just observing it and just looking at both what the themes of your personal is, and then looking at the themes of the global, and then just throughout the year, okay, so how is this showing up for me? And what's this bringing up in me? How is this affecting me? How can I see these 2 themes playing out for me? So again, microcosm, macrocosm, main key theme for us and focus is always bring it back to ourselves first and foremost, because whatever we're doing within, we are absolutely affecting in that outer. One more thing with the 9 cycle too, an amazing way to move energy if you're feeling if you're feeling stagnant or stuck, that potentially in the 9 cycle can indicate that you've got some suppressed emotions happening, some denial of what you're feeling, or you just can't access it. So just again, if you're feeling like that, move the energy. And you can also just ask your guidance, gently and lovingly, please show me potentially what I'm not able to see, or set intention just to start to get the energy gently moving. It could be breath work. It could be actual physical movement. Dance, again, is really good for the 9 cycle. And also moving energy. We heal from inner to outer, and we heal from outer to inner. So inner to outer would be doing this deeper dive within and just really kind of exploring, so how am I feeling, and moving that energy. Where outer means, I might go and just purge my whole house, or I might purge, not my whole house, well, you could, but purge a room, or reorganize a room, or just get rid of clothes and donate, or release anything that's no longer, serving me, or it's just, again, it's all energy. And so the 9 is asking us, even in that way, what can we release and let go of? Where are we holding on to things that are potentially really congesting our energy field, or just that aren't any longer serving? So that's considered outer to inner way of healing or moving energy. So again, this year, major, beautiful, supportive tool for us is to do that, move energy in our physical space, in our environment. And that could be on all levels, cleaning out drawers, cleaning out, anything. So that will move a lot of energy and will help us to stay, really kind of centered and grounded. Because most importantly, that 9 energy is very sensitive to energy, and it's very sensitive to energy starting to kind of be congested. So wishing you very sacred and a very beautiful, magical, transformative, gentle, and loving 2025 and global cycle of 9. Namaste.